Hello there everybody, welcome to my first video on this channel. Today I'm going to be covering how well my R9 Fury Nitro holds up in 2019. I've had this card for some time now, like 2 or 3 years, I don't really remember, and it's powered through those years really well. I've benchmarked the game in 7 games, all varying in performance and age, and I've also decided against using synthetic benchmarks since they're not really useful. And who plays those? Nobody. My system is an i5-7600K, which is clocked at 4.6 GHz, and my RAM is 16 GB of DDR4 2133, I believe. So let's get started. Now the first game on the list is Doom 2016. I love this game. My settings are all maxed out as far as my VRAM will allow me to go, so no nightmare settings on shadows or the virtual texturing. I'm also using that sweet Vulkan API. And I ran at my monitor's native 2560 by 1080p resolution. Also decided to include the minimum and maximum frame rates alongside the 1% and 0.1% lows because, well, why not? As you can see from the info on screen, I got an average frame rate of 90.5 FPS, which isn't too bad. Pretty sure I used to get more than that though. My 1% low was 59 FPS, which is almost 60, which pretty sure is good. My 0.1% low is about 13-14 FPS, which is pretty crappy. I expected way more than that, and my minimum and maximum frame rates are 60.1 and 162.9 frames per second respectively. Second game on the list is Battlefield 5, one of the 2 recent titles I have in this video. My settings are on the screen now, and of course I'm running at 2560 by 1080. Now the results. I was surprised by this one. I thought I was getting much lower than I did, so my average was 73.9 FPS, so almost 74, which is really good. My 1% low was 52 FPS, which is what I thought my average would be, not gonna lie, and my 0.1% low was 38 FPS. I saw a minimum and maximum frame rate of 53 and 96 frames per second. This game performs quite well, better than I thought it was, but it's probably going to be the last Battlefield I'll ever max out with my resolution. So the next game on the list is Far Cry 5, the second recent title I have on here. For this game, my settings are maxed out except for no HD textures because VRAM limit. I used the in-game benchmark tool to record the results, and that's also what my background footage is, so I should probably hurry since that's only a minute. My average frame rate is 59.4 FPS, my 1% low is 47 FPS, my 0.1% low was 41 FPS. I also got a minimum frame rate of 52 FPS and a maximum of 70 FPS. Now this game, it performs really well. I'm impressed. Ubisoft did a great job optimizing this game. Let's continue that list of games that are 5th in their series with Grand Theft Auto 5. I love this game, okay? It's so much fun. It runs okay, but I expect more for a game of its age, and it's the oldest game so far. My settings are on the screen now if you want to look, since there's too many to list. I was also using 2560 by 1080 as my resolution. I just have it at 1080p since the video has to be at 16.9 aspect ratio. My average frame rate was a tenth less than Far Cry 5's at 59.3 FPS. My 1% and 0.1% low is 41 and 18 FPS, which is quite a difference. This game can be pretty droppy. Is that even a word? Sometimes, and it kind of ruins the immersion. My minimum frame rate dropped down to 152 FPS. Oops, I guess I mislabeled that in my benchmark. It dropped down to 6 FPS while my maximum was 152. This game does perform quite well, except in the menus for some reason. Minecraft. This is my next game on the list, since it seems to be pretty equal on GPU and CPU now. I ran the latest version of Minecraft, which is 1.14, with everything but the render distance maxed out. My render distance was set to 16 chunks, since I prefer that. It's the old far render distance. And of course my resolution was 2560 by 1080. On a brand new world, I saw an average frame rate of 178.5 FPS, making this the only game that can average above my monitor's refresh rate of 144. I had really low 0.1 and 1% lows in comparison to my average, which the 1% low was 41.3 and my 0.1% was 22.4. I definitely noticed a lot of drops while playing, which is not fun, and my minimum and maximum frame rates were 107.7 and 283.5, which is really good. Oh boy, one of my favorite games, The Forest. This game, it really depends on the CPU, I think. It performs like crap on my old CPU, which is an 8350, and it's still really hard to run, even with a good one. I ran this thing at max settings, which is nice actually. My average frame rate was 63.2, which is barely above what the majority of people would consider a playable frame rate. My minimum was 48.2 and my maximum was 71.4. These are nice minimums and maximum, but we should probably talk about the 0.1 and 1% lows. They're more important. My 1% low was 46.3 FPS, which is really good, and then my 1.1% low is awful, just awful, at 9.1 FPS. Man, this game, it's fun, but it creeps me out, so let's just move on. Final game I benchmarked was another one of my favorites, and that's American Truck Simulator. This game, it just feels pretty unoptimized, but really only when you raise the scaling, not max it out. I got an average frame rate of 96.2 FPS driving through the Arizona desert, which just feels so nice. When this game gets above 60 FPS, it is just amazing. My 1% low is 54.7 FPS, which is alright. Then my 0.1% low is 14.4 FPS. My 1% low was really nice, but I wish the 0.1% low was better because it's a simulator game, and those are meant to be immersive, and that just breaks it. And then the minimum and maximum was 56.9 and 146.2 respectively. That about sums up the video though. I didn't include any of the synthetic benchmarks as I said, because they're not useful, you don't play them. Overall, I'd say the Fury is still a really nice card. It's in between the RX 580 and the RX 590. The 4 gigs of HBM is limiting, but I haven't really needed more than that, because if I raised it anymore it would just lag more, so it's still a really good card aside from the power consumption and its complete inability to overclock. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more.